Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with you, the Speaking Mind Show. After a long absence from being here, we're here live and direct with you, and we have a program full with activities ready for you tonight. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Speaking Mind Show, we're here with you live and direct. I have guests here tonight, so I'm going to go to the guests, but I must say that it's really nice to be back. Well, I did a little traveling while I was away. I think some of the other members of the team also were away as well. So, sometimes. Oh, and how could I forget? We also had the emancipation celebrations during that time. So and my colleague and myself, we were still, out there pushing a little bit of the limits as well on the parade route and all of that too. So we had some fun. Get a little rest, and we're charged up and ready. We have a guest here with us tonight, and of course my colleague John Lewis is here with me as well. So John, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, viewing audience, it is good to be back.
Definitely.
Tonight we have with us the director of that great architectural firm, OBM, and most. Okay, I wanted to say something naughty, but
don't do my body. Don't do my body like that, man.
But the president of the Rotary Club Sunrise of Tortola, and my president, Mr. Marvin Flax. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware of the things we do in this country under the banner of Rotary. My colleague Richard is also a Rotarian. And so it is a situation where Rotary is going to gang up on the British Virgin Islands tonight. We have things that we have to do, and the only person who can best talk about the programs of the Rotary Club Sunrise is our president. He's charged with making sure that we do the things Rotary International expects us to do, that we do the things our district governor of 7020 expects us to do, and our membership expects us to be active in the community. You would have seen some of the things that we've done over time, and we will also talk to you about some programs which are dear to the club and dear to our president. And we may also show you that during the festival, it wasn't all work, it was some fun. So Marvin, I'd like to welcome you to Speak Your Mind, and we expect you to speak your mind tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Yeah, definitely a pleasure to be here. First time for me.
Okay.
Under the auspices of Rotary. So it's always a great topic for me to speak about, either publicly in a forum like this or in the confines of our club. So.
Well, since you put yourself on the spot, and since John and myself have a little experience in what you're going through right now.
Yes. Yeah.
How does it feel to be, the president, the man with the mandate? You have a time limit that everything has to be finished by July?
July 2nd.
July
1st.
No.
July 1st.
July 1st next year.
July 1st.
June 30th,
June 30th
next year.
Of next year. Everything has to be
2017.
finished.
Yeah.
So, how does it feel? You're charged. You're
charged.
You got those batteries charged.
Absolutely.
You're ready to go.
Yeah, we've actually started. We are now into our second month, really
that's true.
It's midward,
That's true.
in early September. So we've had a very active start to the Rotary year, and it's exciting, to answer your question. You want to be a facilitator of all the plans your club wants to do. You also have your own plans,
Yes.
your own strategic plan that you would like to see carried out through the course of the year which is really built off of what the past presidents have done, the amazing work that past presidents have done. While you have your own little personal goals you like to accomplish in the midst of that, and you try to encourage your directors who also have their own plans, and by and large they have all fit within my own goals as a club president, and it's off to the races. We've had a really good start to the year so far with some great projects, and
What did it take for you to become a Rotarian?
not much. I'm not sure many of you know, but my grandfather, the late Henry Cricky, was
a founding member of it.
absolutely
Rotary Club of-
founding member of the Rotary
So
Club
you've
of
always
Tortola.
known about Rotary.
Always known about it. I've attended countless meetings with him over the years. I have fond memories of him getting up after a guest speaker's giving his or her talk, and he gets up and he adjusts his pants over his stomach, and he asks this amazing question. And as a youngster, observing that, I always admired that,
Right.
and the respect that the other members were giving him, and not just that, the amount of work that they were doing in the community as well,
Okay.
and how the community responded to that level of involvement always stuck with me. And I was away for a number of years, and when I moved back, I didn't really think the opportunity would present itself to become a Rotarian until I was asked to attend some meetings by Ajit George, who was a chartered member of our club,
Right.
and it just went from there. And I was a member maybe 2.5 months thereafter.
Okay.
How do you combine your Rotary obligations with your professional life?
And family.
And family.
And family. It's a juggling act.
It's a
I
juggling.
am juggling the three. Obviously, there's a hierarchy. I wouldn't tell you what hierarchy that is, but it's pretty obvious. My family comes first. But it's a balance. I try to carve out time each day, either, my boss won't like to hear this, during working hours, but in the evenings, early in the morning, to send emails, to respond to requests, to just make sure I'm up to date with what's happening from a meeting to meeting standpoint, as well as
Right.
projects. So it's a juggle, a constant juggling act.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's so, but I'm pretty sure you have the full support of the company anyway. Because
I do.
There are companies we know in our society that are fully in support of the function of Rotary in the community, and they encourage, as a matter of fact, they encourage the staff to
Yes.
participate in
Yes.
in Rotary.
Yeah,
Although some people don't, you know.
my chairman and our CEO,
Yeah.
COO, have both been very supportive. I mean, not just them, maybe the entire organization,
Organization, yeah.
and have really. And our chairman Tim Peck is also a past president of the Rotary Club of Rotown, so he's well aware of the
Oh yes.
the requirements and the demands of that position while juggling managing an international architectural firm.
Projects,
So-
projects.
Tell us some of the things that you've been doing,
Yeah,
or our club has been doing.
yeah.
I need to take a little credit, don't I?
Yes.
As far as past President John, we've had, like I said earlier, a busy start to the year. One of the, I guess, our biggest projects thus far at the start of the year is a complete renovation of one of the classrooms at the Brigado Flags Educational Center. As we know, the Ministry of Education has added a 6th year to the high school, along with the demands of that.
Yes.
And I approached Ms. Stevens, the principal of Brigado Flex, maybe a week or two before I was installed as president, and asked her, well, what can we do to help the school on an immediate basis? And I'll back up a bit, and that's one of the goals our club is trying to achieve this year, something called 12 Good Deeds. And that is a program where the club performs a service project or a donation or an activity at least once a month for the duration of the Rotary year.
Okay.
We're actually into 5 good deeds so far. We haven't even gotten to the half point of the year yet. So
Okay.
tells you how active we are, and we'll probably more than double that.
So
Good deed number.
presidential citation will be there.
I sure hope so. So yeah, so Ms. Stevens said to us, you know, I have a project that I would like to, that you can do, that we would like to, hope we can get accomplished before the start of the school year. And we approached the Ministry of Education, we approached our Virgin Gorda Rotaract arm,
Yes.
and we also approached the Her Majesty's Prison to
Okay.
get some help from some of the very skilled prisoners there.
Okay.
So collectively, we all got our heads together and quickly, in 2 weekends, renovated a complete classroom. We replaced bathroom, we replaced windows, we replaced doors, painting, replaced lights, we got new outlets. That space is completely transformed, and Ms. Stevens has really been appreciative of the work we've done so far, and so much so, she even said to us that, hey, I don't know what you guys did, but the other clubs are trying to jump on and assist with our needs as well. So
That's good.
it's a great example of how what we're doing is going to benefit the entire school, because the other clubs are now engaged and wanting to assist as well. So you see the BVI family of Rotary is really taking on a cause, and when we do that, there's no telling, there's no limit to what we can do as an organizations really.
Okay.
So yeah.
Recently, the Family Support Network approached our club and the other clubs because there was a need. What
Yeah.
do we plan to do to satisfy that need, not only in the short term, but in the long term?
Yeah, one of our probably our biggest plan, we as a club, and really this we can be the community, it can be the BVI family of Rotary, it can be our region, it can be our district, but let's just focus on BVI for now. I would like to, as a club, to start a food bank.
Okay.
And that food bank is geared at trying to assist the members of the community, the people in the community who are in dire need of basic food items. Not just food, but just day-to-day living items.
Okay.
That, while FSN does an amazing job and caters to a very, needy section of the community, they are, and this is just an example of why this is so important for the food bank, their pantry is only so big. It's actually quite small. And there's a continuous need for more food in that pantry. And that need is driven by the increase of people needing food. And that's either from single-family household, there's an abusive situation at home, a family has had to leave a home on account of all manner of things, emergencies, abuse.
Yes.
So they're relying heavily on the support of the Family Support Network in terms of food, shelter. And not just that, it's also children. Children are going to school hungry on a daily basis. The teachers, you hear more and more stories of teachers telling Rotarians and members of the community that this particular student is going to school hungry just about every day, and the teachers themselves are giving the students money or buying them food in some situations on a daily basis, which is noble of the teacher, but that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
We saw on the screen a while ago some examples of what can happen in a food bank situation.
Sure.
Yesterday I went to a supermarket, and sometimes it's good when they have so much produce that they have to reduce the price. But it reminded me of the food bank program, because that surplus stuff could have been donated to a food bank,
Yes.
and more people could have benefited from it, instead of either having the food rot, to be thrown away, or for some reason they know the expiration date on the product is fast approaching, and oftentimes they have to dump it.
Yes.
But if they know that their expiration date is September 15th, September 10th, they could call us and say, here, we'd like to donate this to the food bank. would that make a big difference?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's the it's a tricky thing. You don't want to necessarily take on food that's already at the expiration date
Yeah.
because the members of the public will feel like you're giving them damaged goods, so to speak.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. I don't think we haven't quite nailed down those
Details.
just
Okay.
yet. I think ideally we'd prefer items that are well within their expiration time frame. But having said that, I think if you're in a needy situation and you're being offered food that's approaching the expiration date, or perhaps slightly over it, I don't think you're going to turn it away.
But, but
but-
the science says that the expiration date on the product is only a guide. Most cases that can be extended. But anyhow,
Yeah.
I know that there is a pet project that you have, and it's one that fits in with your work, Architectural Food Bank,
Right.
where you may want to go into a business and say, you design something that has an architectural concept, and at
Yeah.
the end of the period, that sculpture is then given to the food bank.
Sure. Yeah, it's a program that it's called Construction, and of course, I'm an architect. I'm in the design profession, and when I worked in the U.S., I worked for a firm that was a part of a construction design team. And how it works is basically a organization, either a private entity, a private business, a school, college, university, what have you, will basically purchase dozens and dozens of a particular food item. Let's say, for example, tomato paste. And that tomato paste would be used to create a sculpture in your lobby for your office, or just for example, in the central admin complex. You have multiple ministries. So let's just say each ministry designs their own sculpture, their own piece, and it's displayed in the lobby of the admin complex. And then you have a voting process.
There are two lobbies, actually.
Two lobbies, right? Correct. So there's a voting process, a judging process. So there's an actual prize given to who has the nicest sculpture, and all those food items that are been donated to produce the sculpture are donated to the food bank.
Oh.
All of it. So you're talking about, let's just say we have dozens of businesses here in the BVI, trust companies, law firms, architectural firms, spas, you name it. Any tier who feel like they want to be a part of something like this is who we're actually trying to approach. It won't be a continuous process. We're talking about maybe once or twice a year, have a construction design competition. And all the food collected goes into the food bank in certain categories. So say, for example, OBM might want to do a sculpture of the Louvre Museum out of cereal boxes. That's one example. And then all those cereal boxes are then donated to the food bank.
Oh, Richard is also an architect, so
Yes,
he
he is.
understands.
You're going to need a warehouse.
Well, this is part of the reason why I'm here. We would like to reach out to members of the public who may have a warehouse space that they might want to either donate or rent to us on a fairly reduced rate to store in climate-controlled storage for the food items that we would be able to, as Rotarians and also other volunteers in the various community service organizations, be able to give food to members of the public at certain times of the day. Because we are a volunteer organization, so we can't be open 24 hours, but certain times of the day, perhaps 3, 4, 5 days of the week, we're able to give food out to members of the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it surely also reminds me of, the disaster preparedness and the fact that they have sort of similar requirements, for basic food needs in case of a disaster. So maybe some of the things you might want to consider might be those non-perishable things as well.
Absolutely.
Because, storage can be a challenge.
Yes.
You know, so if you have non-perishables, then you probably could hold them longer and also distribute them longer.
Longer, yeah, yeah.
The shelf life would
The shelf
probably-
life is more extended.
is more extended.
Absolutely.
Number one, and also too, sometimes when people are in the need, like for the family support network, there might be conditions that are not so, so comfortable, like transitioning from one place to another, etc.
Absolutely.
You might have to have something that you could use right away.
Right away.
Yeah. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're having such a good discussion, but the sponsors that make the show possible, we have to take a break. We're going to be right back with you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with you after a short break. We're having such a live discussion off air. We have to bring it back to the public. Marvin, you have to tell us more about these projects, man. You
Sure.
gave us one, but I know there are many more.
Yeah, there are several more.
So continue.
Yeah, with the start of the Rotary year, it's very active with directors wanting to do lots of different things, and two of I already mentioned the Brigada Flags project, but we also donated 100 chairs, classroom chairs, to the Altus Catholic Primary School. We'll be doing a formal handover, I think, next week to the
Right.
principal and to the students. What was happening is a lot of the chairs at the school were damaged and actually pinching some of the children's legs and such. So we saw the need, and we basically acted on that need.
Okay.
Another program that we've just completed as well was we donated uniforms to the children of the inmates at Her Majesty's Prison. Very excited about that project. I ran into the warden at the prison, Dave Foote, I believe his name is, and he was actually very appreciative of what we've done so far, and that was led by our director Storm Wright and our community service, our youth services director Kanisha, basically spearheading that process. More recently, as in yesterday, our Facebook page has really been a very active page recently, and so much so we took on the Zika awareness campaign in our Facebook page, where we have maybe 7 or 8 individual graphics or pages identifying what Zika is, how you can get Zika, how to avoid it, things you can do around your house. It's pretty basic stuff, but stuff we got from Dr. George's, and we also got it from the Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization.
Okay.
So it's a very comprehensive bit of information. So if you're interested, need to know more, you can go to our Facebook page, Rotary Club Sunrise of Rotown.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I know Dr. Penn, another Rotarian, has always wanted to control the mosquito population. And one of the things that he came up with was getting guppies and giving them to school children. The intention is that when they get home, they will place these guppies in their systems. And the guppies are really little fishes which will just eat whatever larva or larvae they find in the systems. That will also minimize or totally control the mosquito population. So that is something that our club is also going to be doing.
Absolutely. There is a community-wide cleanup scheduled for the 18th of September that Miss Emma Paul has been organizing, that our club will also be heavily involved in basically canvassing the community and trying to seek out areas or objects that are collecting, standing water. And that's something our club will be doing amongst several of the clubs and nonprofit organizations on that date. So members of the community, if you want to assist in that on that day, please reach out to us on our Facebook page, or you can contact me directly, or speak to Ms. Emma Paul and get you more information. Yeah.
Good. I know you have a team of directors working with you.
Yes, we do. We have Yeah, some amazing group of directors, and some are past presidents, some are it's our first or second year Rotarians. So it's a learning process for them, for me, and I have, like I said, our past presidents have really been helpful to me right now in giving advice, giving information, and they're with their respective positions in particularly in membership and in public relations, have really led the charge in what our club has been doing so far. One of the things our club, and this is really going to one of your opening statement about mandates from Rotary International was engaging our members and keeping our members, like I said, engaged and entertained and happy and focused on being a Rotarian, and really, which goes into how much energy you can put into community service locally. So this past month of August was our membership month. The September month is now sort of youth services month. So respective directors from community service, from youth services and membership really did a lot of work from one month to the next. And I think it's really evidenced by the activity on our Facebook page and the interest we're getting as a club. People approaching me wanting to become members. Just tonight I was at a social gathering and I think there's some interest from two members there, two people there who are
How does one become a
considering.
member?
Well, that's a good question. It's not rocket science, really. We, as Rotarians, we're always looking for members of the public to... Ultimately, we want to know that you have a passion for community service. You have a passion for serving members of the community who are less fortunate, and I think that's one of the first things we try to identify, your need, your passion. What is it you want to do to help the community? And Rotary gives you that avenue. So we try to seek out members who we think may want to be a Rotarian or not. And we invite them to a meeting. What I've been saying recently is I've been inviting members to breakfast. We're a breakfast club. We meet 7 a.m. Maria's by the Seas every Tuesday. So I invite them to breakfast, and I show them what our breakfast meeting is like, what we do, how we do it, and it's up to the member, up to the guest to see if they really want to keep on attending week in, week out. And you see that interest week in, week out, then you say, okay, maybe this person is interested in becoming a Rotarian. And it's all about, as I pointed out earlier, wanting that passion, having that need to want to serve. And that's either painting or cutting grass or what have you.
Cleaning up somebody's yard.
Exactly.
I think one of the themes that stuck with a lot of Rotarians is service above self.
Absolutely.
Because that was a team, 1 year that was a team. And it kind of stuck because that's basically what happens, you know. You end up, serving the community and providing goods and services that no government, no other organization would take on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Does this now dispel the notion held by many persons that Rotary is political?
It does dispel the notion. It's not political. Rotary provides an avenue to meet like-minded individuals who have a common goal. Common goal is as service above self, service to the community. To be honest, Rotary is not cheap. Rotary is, being a Rotarian, you have annual commitments and dues, you have weekly commitments in terms of your meetings, service projects. As clubs, we lean heavily on our members to be able to put on fundraisers, and we ask our members for funds. And it's not a cheap thing, but you see the result. You see how a young student is going to be so happy sitting on a new chair that won't pinch their leg. That a sixth form student now has a class with proper ventilation in it, with
outlets that work.
With outlets that work, because they can now do their work in class.
When you say it's not cheap, you might be scaring some people, because some people think Rotary is a big boy club. But $100 and something a year. It's not really that's not really expensive.
It's from the dues standpoint.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and you might explain too that an individual can be very active or they can be active. And,
Yeah.
and people go through periods too. Somebody might be very active in 2017, but in 2018 they may just be, regularly active.
I
Absolutely.
guess that's
yeah.
when the passion wanes a little.
Yeah.
And then we get
And then
others who are totally committed to serving the community
yes.
in which we live.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that happens.
Mhm.
There are members who put so much into 1 year in whatever capacity, and then the next year I say, I'm gonna ease up a little bit.
Not to mention the members who go to China and Japan and all over the world.
Yeah.
As a Rotarian.
As a Rotarians,
So
when you wear your pin, when you're going to the airport,
Mhm.
we just had this conversation a few days ago with one of our past presidents that he's a Paul Harris fellow. He's going to the airport with his Paul Harris pin on. He wears it just about every day, and a question is asked by somebody in immigration or customs, what is that pin for?
Yeah.
And he tells them what it is, and they're like, they see that, you see the interest, you see, okay, I'd like to be a part of that.
Yeah.
What is that about? And it just helps. And look, there's networking there. You get to meet people from all manners of society, all manners of professions and classifications, which you might not necessarily be able to expose to otherwise. So now they are a fellow Rotarian. They're not a Dr. So-and-so or a minister or a premier. They're Rotarian.
Rotarians.
So they're all on the same level
As Rotarians.
as Rotarians. Absolutely.
And the good
Yeah.
thing for me about Rotary is that you may not be able to come to meetings every week, but you may have a skill or the capacity to do something that your club wants done.
Absolutely.
You just call that Rotarian and he will make it happen.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the good thing about it.
Yeah.
And we also engaged in a project where we're planting trees along the driveway by the festival village. And every time I drive by, I see those trees getting stronger and bigger. And 10 years from now, Richard, 10 years from now, Marvin, your son or your daughter may want to climb those trees and walk in the shade. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
We do things initially for the club, but for the country.
Absolutely. You've in essence, excuse me, being a Rotarian gives you the opportunity to leave a legacy, a physical entity, which is a legacy. I was a part of that project. I was a part of this project, and it's a definite sense of accomplishment and pride when you see people of the community using something. And this kind of goes back to what I do as an architect, and I'm sure Courtney can relate to this. When you build something and design it and you see your client or whoever is using the space, it's a great sense of pride because they're using it the way you'd envisioned. And that translates to Rotary as well.
And that leads us to the question, not the question, but the observation that those trees on that strip between Bobby's Supermarket and Scotia
Yeah.
were planted by the Rotary Club of Road Town
Absolutely.
many years ago.
Many years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And now people are using them to hang out during the evening, during the day. They're going to walk on the side of the street where the shade is. And during the Christmas time, Elton, a Rotarian, will light up these trees and make it an avenue that's pleasant.
Pleasant. Yep. Yep.
We do have a history, and we do continue to add value to life. Now,
But something that resonates with what both of you are saying right now is something that we have all known for a while, John, and that is that one of the problems with Rotary in the Virgin Islands is that we don't sell ourselves. We fail
which is
tell
true.
people
What we
and
do.
what is being done, and it should be a matter of fact, I think.
Yeah. I think
And not as a not as being forthright or trying to position yourself, but just to let people know what is happening. Because sometimes we're not even talking about Rotary International and the various projects, the Polio Plus, the mosquito nets, and it's a
Absolutely.
lot of programs.
Yeah.
And we know about them, but
Yeah.
we don't tell the community
Well,
about them.
to your point, Corny, I would disagree with you a little bit on that. Over the past 2 or 3 years, with the Rotary clubs, with a mandate coming from Rotary International and district level, to promote what we do by using Facebook, by using platforms like
media,
this, social media, and look, I was told once by a member of the community, man, I'm so sick of seeing you guys on Platinum or Vino or BVI News,
Really?
just talking about the things you do. And I am of a more of an old school Rotary approach where you don't necessarily promote as much, but I've changed that. I've changed that mentality. And now, because look, the community needs to know what we do because we go to the community
And ask them to support
to support us.
support the projects. Yeah.
So they're not going to support us if they don't know what we're doing and they can't
Exactly.
see any tangible results from where their money has been.
That
has
is
been
so
gone.
true because I remember that we never talked about the things we did in Rotary. And it came home to me when we did that project by the cemetery, Brighten Your Corner.
Right in the corner. Yeah.
And we boldly put that little plaque on there
The sign. Yep.
so that people know that Rotary Club of Sunrise
Yes.
was involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they would stop, some people would stop and volunteer to help us.
I'll tell you what was significant for me about that project is that cemetery has been there from before I know myself, and it was never ever identified what it is. You knew what it is if you lived here, but if you were a tourist or if you came here from somewhere else, you never knew what it was. But because that little plaque is on there now,
You can say, if you see the plaque, the cemetery's in the other side.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
you know,
That was a project that our past president, Jeanette Scatliff-Boyens,
Did.
was very passionate about
Yeah.
and really engaged our entire club on maybe 2 or 3 Saturdays over the course of a few months,
Yeah.
cutting grass, painting, replacing windows,
Yeah.
and that really
Got you out there.
got us out there,
Right.
and I think that really jump-started the year for us as a club.
Right.
And really, the ball has been rolling ever since, really. I mean, that's one of many projects we've done.
And then
But,
the camaraderie, and
Oh, yeah.
working together.
Yes, there's
It's-
a social element
Social
and a
element
fellowship element
and
to
fellowship,
Rotary
yeah.
that is...
Another project we
Yeah.
did is one moonlight evening. We just walked through town and picked up the trash that we saw on
Yeah.
the road, and then at the end of the evening, we sat around, we had a munch, had something to drink, and socialized.
Just socialized.
And it made a difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Simple project. We collected, lots of trash throughout Roadtown. And afterwards, as past President Johnson, we sat down and just chatted and relaxed. And that's a major part of Rotary is fellowship.
Yes.
Major part of it.
Okay, what's next for the Rotary Club Sunrise?
Yeah. Well, we've been very active with projects as a start of the year. As I've mentioned, about 4 or 5 of them. We now have to get into the fundraising element of our year. So we have a fundraising committee. We've 5 members, I think, are part of the committee, and we've engaged them to come up with several fundraisers throughout the course of the year. And you may not be aware, or maybe you are, but we had a major fundraiser last Christmas, and it may seem like it's far away, but it's not. But a Christmas concert, and that Christmas concert was very successful for us in the community. There was caroling, there was a lot of singing, performances from members of the community, very, very popular. And so that planning process has now started. There's also a sunset sale that we did last year that we're trying to do again this year, another fundraiser for our club, where we invite members of the community, also other Rotarians, to attend the sunset sale. Well, a lot of what we do is also fundraising. We fundraise either within our club, within the other clubs, or within the community to raise funds for the various multitude of projects that we have going on.
Perhaps it's important for the public to know that from the community fundraisers, we're able to do the things that we do in the the schools with the chairs,
Absolutely.
going up to Brigada Flax Educational Center and refurbish it. That's how we get the money, and whatever monies are raised from the community must
Must.
put back into the
Absolutely
community.
must. It's part of our constitution, part of our bylaws, and we're very strict with that as a club. All clubs are really. So the money's raised, and you see us out there selling raffle tickets for Valentine's raffles and various fundraisers. That's where the money goes to the various projects we do.
But we still have some time left, and we got the numbers up there. So if there's anyone in the community who wants to ask a question of President Marvin or any one of us, you know, you can call. The numbers up there. 49 if you're going to call, or
You can text.
300-1950 if you're going to text. So we can continue, and we'll,
Sure.
you know, if we get any call or any text, we'll step up to the plate and
One program that our clubs used to be very active in is the Premier's Cup Regatta. We seem to have taken a hiatus for now, but we're going to return to the Rotarians to reintroduce that program in earnest. I will walk the street and I will see a youngster who's been to the CATS program,
yes,
who's learned to swim, who's learned to sail, who's become a scuba diver, who's taken a job in the marine
In the marine
industry,
industry, yeah.
all through CATS. And I think we need to return to that program
Yes.
with a passion.
Yeah, you and I have had a few conversations about that, and it's definitely something we would like to do.
for me, one of the beauties of that program was seeing the members from other countries come here and participate with all youngsters, and the camaraderie among them, and the fight,
Fight to win.
the fight to win.
Yeah.
It was
And
It was-
surprisingly, many of these youngsters, first time they got on a plane,
yes.
first time they came to a different country.
A different country, yeah. Some of
And
them first time they're dealing with American currency.
Currency.
Some
And
of-
the
some of-
first time they've had people serving them.
Right.
Yes.
And that is something that we need to explain the program a little bit, John. It's a program put on by Rotary.
It was a
And-
program heavily supported by Rotary.
in various countries,
Yes.
right, would sponsor these youngsters, and then they would come here. And while they're here, the Rotarians here would take care of their meals, their breakfast, their lunch, everything,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and put them on these boats and allow them to race against each other. And that was the activity.
Yeah.
And it was an international program.
Yes, it was an international program.
So a club in Trinidad would become a part of the international club service.
Club
Right.
service, and a club in St. Martin,
Martin,
would be the same,
same
thing,
thing.
and
Yeah.
like that. And for a number of occasions, it was the first time that these youngsters would get together.
Oh yeah,
And
most times.
Most times, yeah.
And then what was one of the other things that was nice about it too was there was an age limit. So although some of the sailors that came one year, they may not come the next
Next
year
year,
because
yeah.
they're already
18.
They already past the age to come. So then they will have some new guys, and then sometimes you see some guys that are 11 years old doing just as good as the 18-year-old
Year-olds.
guys.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was phenomenal. I mean, it was really a good
Excellent.
program.
A number of the participants in the past have gone on to represent their countries at the Olympics,
Yes.
like those from the U.S. Virgin
Yeah,
Islands, for
yes.
example.
So it has that kind of quality.
All
It does,
under the
yeah.
banner of Rotary.
Rotary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And these are the places Rotary can take you.
Now, Marvin, we almost at the end of our program. You now have an opportunity to appeal to the BVI community, inviting them to participate in all activities, all Rotary activities,
Sure.
but specifically the Rotary Club.
Sunrise.
It's yours.
Oh, thank you, John. As I've been speaking about so far, we have an amazing club with amazing members. We do amazing projects that gear and are steered to community service. We want to help the community in any capacity that we are able to, as individuals, as a group, as an organization. We meet every Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock at Maria's by the Sea. If you're interested in becoming a Rotarian and want to serve and feel like community service is something you want to do and are passionate about doing, by all means, please attend. Contact me at my office, 494-2148 at OBM. Ask for Marvin, and you'll be my guest at breakfast meeting at Rotary. And we'll just go from there. We'll gauge your interest. And look, we thank the members of the community for all the support you've given us over the years. We wouldn't be where we are as a club without your support. So thank you for your support over the years, and also your continued support. We have some amazing projects coming up and fundraisers, and we really appreciate your assistance moving forward. So thank you.
Okay, Richard.
Yeah. Go ahead, John. Your final words you want to say?
It's been a great show.
We're there.
And we will continue next week with another program where you can speak your mind.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah. Well, it was really good having you, Marvin. We tried before, but as you know, we had some various activities, including myself taking a little time off. So, but this was just as good as any other time, because it gave you an opportunity to put your club activities out there. It may not seem like a long time, but the time is going to go by really fast.
It has. It's really the clock.
The year is going to just fly by, my advice to you is to really, enjoy it while it lasts. It's a golden opportunity.
Absolutely.
And as I usually say at this time, though, God bless these Virgin Islands and the people that live in it, and we'll see you again next week.